People are always fascinated by unique and bizarre things that exist in our world. If curiosity killed the cat, it should have also killed the human because we're innately curious beings. What if I told you certain creatures and things you probably never imagined could exist? We have traveled the globe to seek out 15 of the rarest things you'll see for the first time in your life. They're as freakish as can be. Are you ready for this? Don't choke on your cornflakes as you watch the 15 things you'll see for the first time in your life. Number 15 on our list is the rare albino green turtle. Albino hatchlings are rare. It probably occurs one in many hundreds of thousands of eggs that are laid. They face a very tough life ahead. 1 in 1,000 green turtles typically survives to maturity, and the albino's chances are even slimmer. Normally they don't survive coming out of the nest because of their cover. Their color means that they have no camouflage, making them easy prey for large sea creatures, and when they do, they're abnormal and not well suited to the environment, which means the chance of survival is very slim to none. Who would want to eat such a cute, insignificant creature? They're beautiful, all white in their little pink flippers, swimming as fast as they can. It's not easy being albino. May the ocean be kind to this unique little green. Number 14 on our list is the wolf eel. With elongated, slender bodies, enormous heads, and intimidating jaws, they named the wolf eels for their superficial resemblance to eels and wolves. However, they're neither wolf nor true eel. Instead, they're part of a group known as wolf fishes. These animals inhabit the cool waters of the northern Pacific, ranging from the Sea of Japan to the Aleutian Islands to Southern California, making a home in rocky reefs and stony bottoms. Some say they have a face only a mother could love. And while that may startle us with their bulbous, fleshy eyes and their massive, jaunting jaws, we know wolf eels to be curious and even friendlier to divers. Wolf eels are one of the rare creatures on Earth that finds a partner and mates for life in most cases. Once settled, the animals are territorial and males will fight one another for space, or sometimes females. Reaching lengths of up to 8 feet in length and weighing up to 50 pounds, these animals can be massive. Most striking are the jaws of the wolf eels, specially adapted to crunch through the hard outer layers of tasty animals, such as sea urchins and other hard-shell animals, including mussels, clams, snails, and even fish. They have a row of 4 to 6 fang-like teeth in the front for piercing and back rows of strong molars meant for crushing and grinding prey. The population of wolf eels appears to be stable. Mysterious and unique, wolf eels are fascinating creatures, illustrating there's more than meets the eye in understanding our ocean's amazing animals. Number 13 on our list is the ghost plant. The ghost plant is a plant that you'll see everywhere but don't know what it's called. With its pinkish-gray succulent leaves and trailing rosette form, ghost plants add a modern touch to container plantings and rock gardens. The ghost plant is a frequent subject of faux plant arrangements, but there's no reason to buy expensive fake plants when a live specimen is so easy to grow and propagate. The ghost plant is a low-maintenance specimen when you meet its basic growing requirements. Sharp drainage, abundant sunlight, and scant irrigation are the keys to a healthy ghost plant that will soon produce new offshoots for you to propagate. Ghost plants will be at their most handsome when they receive ample sunlight. Plants that don't receive enough sunlight will be leggy and may experience leaf drop. The ghost plant needs good drainage to maintain a healthy root system. The more rainfall a ghost plant receives, the more drainage they need. In the absence of natural rain, ghost plants only need occasional irrigation. Plants growing outdoors in full sun and summer temperatures will appreciate a weekly drink, while houseplants may only need watering every other week. You must be aware though, because we know some ghost plants to grow to a monstrous size in the middle of the night and eat their owners. Just kidding. Number 12 on our list is Guru, the hairless chimpanzee. It's no wonder biologists say chimps are at least 4 times stronger than humans. We consider chimps the closest living relative of humans, sharing between 95 to 98% of the same DNA. However, for muscular strength, there really is no comparison between the two. If it ever came to a one-on-one fight, there would be one winner, and it wouldn't be human. Research suggests the difference in strength is down to muscle performance. Chimps are strong and fast, so humans are easily overpowered. Guru is a male who has alopecia, and consequently has lost all the hair from his body. It's unbelievable when you see the muscle definition a chimp has under all that hair. Male chimps may worry that losing their hair will make them less appealing. I never knew chimps had an ego. But for Guru the chimpanzee, his baldness has turned him into a star attraction. Guru brings hundreds of visitors flocking to the Mysore Zoo in southern India, despite greeting them by throwing stones. Everybody wants to see his biceps and triceps. He beats his chest and claps a lot when children come near his enclosure. No one knows how Guru may have lost his hair, but being so much like humans, factors in Guru's life such as stress or trauma, which can induce alopecia in humans, could have caused it. Fortunately, Guru's baldness doesn't have seemed to affect his popularity among his own species. Guru has a female partner, and although he plays cheerfully with her, he hasn't taken things any further, to the surprise of his handlers. Maybe he wants to join the priesthood. Who says working hard in the gym does not pay off? This recent story will definitely prove contrary to this belief. Marvel just cast Oliver Richards, the world's tallest man with muscles on top of muscles, to play the role of Black Widow in an upcoming spin-off movie. Oliver weighed only 187 pounds at the beginning of his competitive career. Today, he weighs just over 300 pounds. His arm size is nearly 19 inches. That's almost 2 feet around. These types of physical statistics are almost equivalent to an actual Incredible Hulk. He takes 6,400 calories a day or more to maintain his weight. This beast eats 7 meals a day and requires at least 450 calories of pure protein. Many people doubt that he's natural, but he just keeps working out and holds a deaf ear to the haters. The Dutch strongman says he's always stood out from the crowd, and even at 14 he was towering above his peers. He felt like Goofy, tall, slender, like a walking skeleton. Feeling like that made him quiet and introverted. He stuffed his face with everything he could. In the beginning, he only gained fat. He knew nothing about nutrition or what his body needed to grow. He went to the gym for the first time in his life and gained 20 kilos in 2 years. The third year, he reached a plateau where he didn't gain anymore. He looked into the lifestyle of bodybuilders online, and that helped him gain another 50 kilos in 5 years that followed. The weight is fine, but when he looks in a mirror, he sees a lot of things that still need improvement. I guess some people will never be happy. Number 10 on our list is how Malaysians move their homes. It's always been a tradition for the Malaysian community and villages to move wooden houses, literally by lifting and carrying the structures. However, this tradition has long been forgotten and is rarely practiced by the current generation. To relive the tradition, a group of villagers and university students joins hands to move an old wooden house for about 150 meters last Saturday. They abandoned the house for about 20 years and turned it into a gallery, as we'll rarely see this kind of traditional house anymore. The initial plan was to destruct the house and rebuild it in a fresh place, but some villagers suggested we move it using the traditional way. It took them about 5 hours to move the house, which weighs around 6 tons. Items in the house were cleared, and they removed the kitchen and veranda to make lifting easier. The house is about 80 years old and can last another 100 years if it's taken care of properly. Once they complete simple restoration works, it will turn into a gallery exhibiting traditional clothes and musical instruments. People who visit the house will not only see the structure, but also their traditional items. I have a hard time finding friends to move my furniture, let alone help them move my entire house. Number 9 on our list is the Son Doong Cave. Thanks to discoveries made during a recent expedition in Vietnam, it appears the world's largest cave, Son Doong, is even bigger than previously thought. Son Doong currently measures right around 38 million cubic meters. Any cave in the world would fit comfortably inside the Son Doong. The entrance to the cave, meaning Cave of the Mountain River, was first discovered in 1991. The cave, estimated to be between 2 and 5 million years old, and is believed to be the largest cave passage in the world. It's more than 3 miles long, with numerous chambers large enough to hold an entire city block of New York skyscrapers. Being the world's largest cave, Son Doong contains many appropriately gargantuan formations, including the 200-foot Hand of the Dog, probably the world's largest stalagmite. Son Doong is also distinguished by 2 large dew lines, an area where the cave roof collapsed and let in light and created conditions for dense prehistoric flora to grow in the middle of the cave. Number 8 on our list is the Bubblegum Lake. When you look at a map, lakes are universally marked with a pale blue color. But when it comes to Lake Hillier, in the remote southwest of Australia, the cartographer should have reached for a pencil shaded somewhere between flamingo and fairy floss. There are a few pink lakes dotted around the state of Western Australia, but Lake Hillier is the most well-known, the most bubblegum colored, and the most frequently visited. Scientists believe that the bubblegum color comes from the presence of Dunaliella salina, a microalgae containing a reddish pigment that thrives in salty lakes. Even when the water is scooped up into a container, the liquid retains its pink hue. Lake Hillier is 600 meters long and 250 meters wide, surrounded by gum trees and sand dunes protecting its pink water from the deep blue Southern Ocean. The lake was once used to mine salt, like they do at similar pink lakes. But these days, tourism is far more valuable resource. The best way to see Lake Hillier is from above, with a bird's-eye view of its vibrant color. This is a fascinating lake to look at. I mean, it's totally bubblicious. Number 7 on our list is the blobfish. The blobfish is deemed the world's ugliest animal. Blobfish are a deep water fish that live off the coast of Australia somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 feet beneath the waves. Down there, the pressure is up to 120 times greater than it is at the surface. You wouldn't want to be down there without an intense submarine. The blobfish doesn't have a swim bladder, so its stomach has got to stay inside its body. But that doesn't mean it's holding up well in the atmosphere. The blobfish doesn't really have a skeleton, and it doesn't really have any muscle. So up here, it's like saggy and droopy. But without this particular makeup down in the deep, it would be dead. Unlike most other fish, the ones that live in these depths don't have gas-filled cavities like swim bladders that would collapse under the extreme pressure. In fact, super deep water fish often have mini-skeletons and jelly-like flesh, because that's the only way to combat the extreme pressure of the deep water. So why do we think the world is too hard on the blobfish? Because if we put you at 4,000 feet below the water, your organs would crush and you'd probably be turned into some sort of paste. Meanwhile, the blobfish would just look like, well, a fish. Number 6 on our list is the piranha eating frenzy. Piranhas are some of the most ferocious fish in the world. They'll snap a finger off a hand incautiously trailed in the water. They mutilate swimmers. In every river town in Paraguay, there are men who have been thus mutilated. They will rend and devour alive any wounded man or beast, for blood in the water excites them to madness. Alongside sharks and crocodiles, piranhas are the most feared aquatic creatures on Earth. This is mostly due to the popular held idea that the large and hungry enough soul of piranha could reduce you to nothing more than a skeleton in a matter of moments. An idea that, as it turns out, isn't without precedence, but most certainly doesn't tell the whole story of whether piranhas are actually dangerous to humans. You see them, though, commonly thought of as ferocious carnivorous creatures with an unending hunger for flesh and who are driven mad by the smell of blood. But piranha are omnivores in that they can eat virtually anything. Even the most carnivorous types of piranha typically function more or less like the vultures of fresh water, generally feeding on dead or dying things, rather than the living, which sometimes bite back. Piranhas are well down in the food chain, commonly eaten by various birds, dolphins, caimans, larger fish than themselves, and of course, humans. Honestly though, would you take a chance at swimming with piranhas? I know I wouldn't. Number 5 on our list is the quokka. Quokkas are nocturnal marsupials. They're some of the smallest members of the marcopod family, which also includes kangaroos and wallabies. The quokka clan makes its home in swamps and scrublands, tunneling through the brush and creating shelters and hideouts and emerging at night to find food. The world's happiest animal, as it's called sometimes, is not all sunshine and lollipops. You may not want to hear this, but it's true. A quokka's big feet are tipped with very sharp claws. The quokka will hurt you if given the opportunity. Among themselves, quokkas are primarily a peaceful bunch. Males don't fight over food choices, females food, water, although they'll occasionally scrap over a nice, shady napping spot. Priorities. Inquisitive, appealing, and fearless, the quokka is a gritty survivor ready to do anything it takes to stick around. Quokkas divide their time between eating leaves and grasses and snoozing in the shade. When water's scarce, quokkas chow down on water-storing succulents. When the good leaves are hard to reach, they climb trees. The quokka doesn't settle for useless food. Wild quokka populations are declining as invasive predators like foxes and cats move into quokka territory. The quokka has a fixed smile, sort of like Mona Lisa. Consider the great white shark, with its face perpetually stretched into a grin. The quokka smile is an accident of evolution. If we were tenacious, tiny furballs with anime cute faces and vicious claws, we'd be smiling too. Number 4 on our list are giant rats, trained to sniff out landmines. The giant rats are a huge cat-sized rodent native to Central Africa. They have bad vision but an extraordinary sense of smell. This makes them perfect candidates for discovering hidden landmines by sniffing out explosives. Even decades after conflict, explosive remnants of war linger in the earth, maiming and killing thousands of people who stumble across them each year. Finding these hidden explosives is challenging and dangerous. Training the rats to sniff out landmines isn't easy though. For one thing, the rodents need to learn how to be around humans, starting at infancy. For another, they don't respond to verbal commands, so the trainers have to teach them that hearing a click means they get a food reward. The last step is hooking the critters up to harnesses and teaching them how to walk on a rope grid in the field. When the trained rats find a landmine, they stop and scratch at the TNT-scented spot, which the human deminers mark and come back to later excavate. If they find a mine, they detonate it on site. This whole training process takes about 9 months for every rat, and there's a downside. The animals only live about 8 years, which means a lot of training for an animal with a relatively short time span. Number 3 on our list is the elephant man. Born as a seemingly healthy baby, Joseph Merrick displayed symptoms of a congenital disorder before the age of 2 when suddenly his body swelled. With no warning, the mother of her previously healthy baby was now looking at a loved one covered with disfiguring tumors that grew all over his skin. With no clue what was going on, it forced her to witness how distinctive parts of his body were growing asymmetrically out of proportion. His mother, Mary Jane, assumed it resulted from her being startled by a raging elephant that assaulted her during her pregnancy, for her son's disfiguring skin patterns were grayish, like the color of an elephant. Despite everything, Joseph had a relatively healthy childhood, at least until his head grew significantly larger and his right hand deformed to the extent that it was no longer usable. It was then that Mary and her husband, Joseph Merrick, knew for certain that their son could not attend normal school and desperately needed special care. Sadly, his mother passed away when he was only 11 years old, and with only a devastated father who knew nothing about how to take care of him, Merrick was forced to work menial jobs to survive. Stricken with poverty and beaten by his father every day that he came home empty-handed, the boy finally ran away from home and joined the only place that would gladly take him with open arms, the circus. For many years, he and his disfigurement were the premier attraction of the Gately Palace of Varieties, where he was valued as a living freak, and not a 17-year-old boy who saw nothing but misery in his life. Number 2 on our list is the bar on a lake. Ice fishing is one of those things that you can only do in the extreme cold. Yet the extreme cold that makes the activity possible also makes it harder to take part in one crucial aspect of all fishing. Hillbilly's Ice Hole is on the north side of Lake Lida, a remote lake in central Minnesota, near Pelican Rapids. On the edges of the bar, people drop their lines baited with live minnows in the holes in the floor. Fish like sunfish, crappie, walleye, and bass are waiting to be caught below the ice. The bar serves up wine, beer, and cocktails with occasional specials like $1.50 draft beer and $3 Jack Daniel's shots. Even if you catch nothing, the brews are always cold. If you're not the fishing type, you can still take part by taking a minnow shot at the bar. It's a local favorite and exactly what it sounds like. They drop a live minnow into your shot of choice and then quickly drop it down the hatch, leaving the fish to wiggle its way in your stomach. Based on the conditions, Hillbilly's Ice Bar gets to open about 20 days total for the year. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. Number 1 on our list is the floating school. The 21 million people living in Lagos, Africa's most popular city, are constantly adapting to climate change and urbanization. Every day, close to 100 Nigerian children from the coastal city of Lagos head off in boats to the most unusual schoolhouse on the water. To give the kids a great and comfortable environment to learn, the school has a play area, classrooms, rainwater collection, and composting toilets. The 3-story, A-frame structure bops on the waves of the lagoon that lines the waterfront slum of Makoko, a severely overcrowded water community that already hosts a stilted fishing village with a population in tens of thousands. The project is both an attempt to tackle both Makoko's specific needs and the urgency to provide sustainable living solutions as climate change continues to directly affect the coastal communities at large. The goal? The frame structure sits atop 256 recycled plastic barrels and is mostly made of wood and local materials. Its triangle shape allows for several levels, its low center of gravity providing stability even in high winds. The classroom is on the second tier, the roof providing an open-air environment and uses PV cells on the roof and a rainwater system to boost sustainability. They use the lower level as a playground while school is in session. And when school gets out for the day, it quickly becomes a community space for village residents to fish and relax in the cool shade the natural ventilation structure provides. It's an exciting regeneration project, leading the way to transform life for Lagos' poor. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our countdown of the 15 things you'll see for the first time in your life. Wasn't that awesome? It's amazing the creatures that live on this planet we can't even fathom exist. This countdown also makes you reflect on the fact that humans, when they put their mind to it, creating something positive, they can create magic. Join us next time for another amazing countdown. Have a good one.